There is some danger that, faced with the false religion of communism, we should forget that Western Europe and the United States are only exposed to infection by this false religion because they are already sick. How we are to diagnose this sickness is a matter of some difficulty. All the catchphrases that resound daily from the press and the pulpit have a certain truth in them. Whether or not we agree with this or that way of putting the situation into words, we see that lying within the shadow cast by the verbal formula, there is a tiny pearl of truth. But precisely this is what slackens the will and overcomes us with a despairing sense of impotence. Whatever is capable of this kind of formulation, banal and abstract, is as dead as the moth in the collector's poison bottle. For our world is the world of the dead formula, and if we are drifting towards catastrophe, it is with the formula of salvation upon our lips. Abolish national sovereignty, return to God, restore the joy that comes from creative work, acquire unitive knowledge of the divine ground of existence. What are these but improving and more sophisticated reflections of the archetypal utterances that from walls and sky signs and the glossy pages of magazines exhort us to consume this cereal to keep our bowels open, to use this cosmetic to intensify our sexual charm, to take this course of study, that we may transform ourselves into highly paid business executives? One of the great merits of Dr. Picard's The Flight from God is that he has shot, stuffed, and mounted this world of the dead formula, much as Mr. Hemingway shot, stuffed, and mounted the professional revolutionary of our time in his scarifying portrait of Andre Marty in For Whom the Bell Tolls. The world of the dead formula is Dr. Picard's world of the flight. But is not the world of the flight yet another dead formula? It could indeed become such. If it is more than a formula, this is because Dr. Picard is above all a poet rather than a philosopher or a social scientist. The function of the poet is different from that of the philosopher or the social scientist. He is always concerned with the concrete. He moistens the throat dry with the swallowing of abstractions. For what the poet says is as much a concrete and created thing as a painting or a tree. The work of the poet, like the charm of the world of nature and the majesty of the liturgy, may be a means of quickening into life the preambulating corpses of the world of the flight. But what is this flight, the reader may ask? What is this extraordinary phenomenon which, according to Dr. Picard, is present in every manifestation, art, morals, religion, politics, of contemporary life? Is it something real, or is it just a way of speaking? The question is symptomatic of the habit of mind so exhaustively analyzed in The Flight from God. In terms of the presuppositions that lie behind the question, perhaps no answer can be given, or perhaps one can only reply as one might reply to the questions of a child who had awakened from a nightmare, that it isn't real, that it was only a dream. See, here is the reassuring light, the familiar pictures, the cool hand of the mother. It wasn't real. It was only a dream. Now go to sleep again. Even the adult who says to the child that it was only a dream must at times reflect upon what these words can mean. A dream is surely something, and in all ages down to our own, the age of Freud and Jung, the dream has been thought to be as full of meaning, as pregnant with fortunate or disastrous consequences as anything within human experience. So we may say to the inquirer, by all means, think of the flight, if you wish to do so, as a way of speaking. But if you do so, it is because God and the devil, good and evil, dreams and visions, myths and fairy stories are only ways of speaking too. A hasty reading of The Flight from God might convey the impression that Dr. Picard is a naive person who thinks it would be very agreeable if the work of the Renaissance could be undone, and all men lived in a condition of religious torpor under the beneficent rule of Pope and Emperor. This would be a radical misunderstanding indeed, and would indicate a failure to understand the first sentence in the book. The flight is the predicament of mankind in every age. Dr. Picard might have set beside the epigraph of St. Augustine these words by Cardinal Newman: "If there be a God, since there is a God, the human race is implicated in some terrible aboriginal calamity. The flight is the